Hello, sir, and fellow batchmates. Today we are going to present our presentation, which is based on the performance study on waste management in battery industry.
A big thanks to everyone for joining us today. Myself Sougata kansabanik from ECA department, role 12.
And I am Arya Dewanji, role 6 from the ECA department.
So we are starting from the very core of our topic. First of all, what is lead acid battery and also where are they used?
In 1859, Gaston Plante, a French physicist, invented a rechargeable battery, which is the lead acid battery. They have large power to weight ratio, and they are used as current providers for starter motors. They are also used in emergency lighting.
Here in this slide, we can see that how lead acid batteries are working. In first reaction, from lead plus hydrogen sulfate to lead sulfate plus hydrogen and 2 electrons. This is a reaction in negative terminal. In positive terminal, from lead oxide plus hydrogen sulfate plus hydrogen plus electron to lead sulfate plus water. And the overall chemical reaction involved in this battery is from lead plus lead oxide plus sulfuric acid to lead sulfate plus water. Change the slide, please.
They are also used there,
Yes.
like automobile starting, ignition, and lighting, off-grid household electric power systems, backup power supplies for telephone and computer centers, and much more things. Here is a picture of the lead acid battery being used.
Next slide. Yes. So here are the advantages of lead acid battery. First of all, the availability in all shapes and sizes. We can get a 3 inches battery and as well as 13 inches too. Second point is doesn't require maintenance. Usually they need no maintenance, but watering is required, which is not a big deal though. It offers the best value of power and energy per kilowatt hour. And lastly, it withstands slow, fast, and overcharging. Arya, please show the next slide.
Yes. So here are some disadvantages of this battery. Lead is heavier than the alternative elements like nickel and cadmium. In fact, cadmium can be used as an alternative element, while lead is 1.32 times heavier than cadmium. It must be stored in charged condition to prevent sulfation, and it's not environmentally friendly, and we will highlight that in the next coming slides. And it has a limited cycle life.
We must remember some points on Exide industry. Firstly, it's one of the leading companies for manufacturing of lead acid battery, nationally and internationally.
Yes. It is also included into red categories because it generates hazardous waste, liquid waste, and air pollution.
This industry represents one important and growing sector where the use of non-toxic and non-hazardous substitute materials has not developed yet. As regulation increase and concern for the environment and human health becomes more prevalent, the fate of toxic and hazardous materials in the environment should be more carefully considered.
Exide's network spreads throughout India, and its factories are geographically distributed at strategic locations around the country. The company was incorporated as Associated Battery Makers on 31st January 1947 under the Companies Act 1913.
Government have taken steps toward improvement in waste management and safety related activities for better comfort of environment. In 1989, Environmental Protection Act came in, which may be called a second step toward improvement in work surrounding of industries. Norm-wide become manifested from regulation over wrong method of manufacturing and waste disposal.
Battery wastewater is characterized by COD, BOD, TDS, chlorine, sulfates, and heavy metals like lead and arsenic. The level of pollutants in lead acid battery wastewater also vary depending upon the process adopted in battery making.
The samples were collected at inlet and outlet of the effluent treatment plant units and analyzed as per standard methods for the examination of wastewater. The samples were analyzed for various parameters like pH, BOD, COD, TDS, and TSS.
The quantities of wastewater collected from the manufacturing process for treatment were quantified through a digital electronic flow meter. Stack monitoring is carried out by the authorized laboratory, and for air pollutant, wet scrubbers and dust collectors are provided to control air pollutants.
Next slide, please. Yes. ATP has designed to provide chemical process, which involves all important units such as equalization tank, neutralization tank, clarifier, pressure sand filters, rotary vacuum filter, etc. A diagram is shown here. In Exide Industries, different products, those are in process, including acid forming, distillation, alloy blending, motorcycle batteries, and automotive batteries, are obtained through the chemical process by using lead, sulfuric acid, lead oxide, and other chemical substances.
The unwanted residue obtained at the time of preparation of acid forming, jar forming, and other process which contribute to major amount of COD, TDS, SS, and leady effluent and other heavy metals.
Wet scrubber is provided for air pollutant removal in industries. In wet scrubber, the polluted gas stream is brought into contact with scrubbing liquid by spraying it with the liquid. It can also be done by forcing it through a pool of liquid or by some other contact method so as to remove the pollutants.
The design of wet scrubbers or any air pollution control device depends on the industrial process condition and nature of the air pollutants.
Now show us the next slide.
Yeah, here we can see the above table shows the technical details of the equipments used in the Exide industry.
Next slide, please.
Now, we will talk about the case study. Here, three divisions are visible: analysis of wastewater, sludge management, and pollution. There are a few classifications in it, and we will talk about it later.
Next slide. Analysis of wastewater. The analysis of wastewater was carried out for pH, BOD, COD, TDS, SS, chlorides, sulfates, etc.
COD, also known as chemical oxygen demand, is a test that measures the amount of oxygen required to chemically oxidize the organic material and inorganic nutrients. BOD, also known as biochemical oxygen demand, represents the amount of oxygen consumed by bacteria and other microorganisms while they decompose organic matter under aerobic conditions at a specified temperature.
TDS, total dissolved solids, is described by the inorganic salts and small amount of organic matter present in the solution water. SS, also known as suspended solids, refer to the small solid particles which remain in suspension in water as a colloid or due to the motion of the water. Next slide.
The wastes coming from treatment plant are of two types: acidic and leady wastes. Both are treated together. Acid wastes are generated from different sources which are equalized in the equalization tank and then pumped into the neutralization tank.
Lead effluent is passed through pressure filter press where lead paste is removed from the effluent and stored in storage tank. Stored effluent is then passed through a treatment system and the filtrate is stored in leady water filter tank. Stored effluent overflow is pumped to neutralization tank by gravity.
Sludge management. So what is sludge? Sludge is a mixture of liquid and solid components, thick, soft, and muddy. It can be called a semi-solid sludgy mixture. Sludge generated from clarification process is pumped to rotary vacuum filter press. Water removed from sludge and dried sludge waste is collected in hazardous waste container and sent for secure landfilling. The supernatant passed through pressure sand filter in which rest of all impurities are removed. The clear effluent with all removed impurities is stored in a storage tank for further use.
The effluent parameters are constantly checked for obtaining better quantity effluent which has to reach the effluent standard limits as prescribed by Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. TDS, SS, lead are checked daily for safety and unit process requirement point of view.
Usually for neutralization, leady water is mixed with acidic wastes. In wastewaters, Dissolved solid consists mostly of inorganic salts such as chlorides, sulfates, lead, arsenic, etc., and a small amount of organic matter and dissolved gases. The industrial wastewater generated that contain large amount of chlorides, which can cause significant disruption in the ecological balance. Many techniques have been adopted in order to reduce the amount of chlorides in wastewater, like demineralization, reverse osmosis, coagulation, precipitation, and electrodialysis.
This one is our first graph. There are pH values, influent pH and effluent pH from 18th June to 10th July. Arya, please highlight those values, please.
Yeah.
18th June, effluent pH was 2.5. 20th June, it was 2.3. Then it became 2.2, 2.3, 2.5, 2.44, 2.4, 2.5, 2.5, 2.3, 2.2, and then 2.
The influent pH in 18th June was 7.9, 7.35 in 20th June, and 6.89, 7.15, 7.5, 7.57, 7.67, 7.4, 7.2, 7, 7.25, and lastly 7.5 in 10th July.
So the previous graph shows variation in pH value against these days. The variation ranges 2 to 2.5 and 6.5 to 7.9. The variation in influent pH due to acidic waste we generated from jar information and acid dilution plant is highly acidic in nature.
The effluent values show deviation due to incoming varied quantity of leady waste to treatment plant, which after the process of neutralization. Influent COD of 18 June is 950 and in 20th June is 935, 920, 925, 930, 920, 927.5, I'm sorry, 925, 923.5, 922, 923, 924, and 925 in 10th July. The units are in milligram per liter.
Effluent CODs from 18th June to 10th July are: in 18th June it was 200, then 20th June it was 195, 189, sorry, then 184.5, fourth one, yes,
Okay.
then 180, then 182.5, 185, 183.5, 182, 184, 186, and in 10th July it was 190. Units are in milligram per liter. Change the slide, please.
The previous graph shows variation in COD values against days. The variation in influent COD due to presence of chlorides, sulfates, heavy metals, and other chemicals which bring down acceptable limits, that is 250 milligram per liter.
Effluent value shows variation between 170 and 195 milligram per liter. Next slide. Yes. Proceed.
Yeah. The effluent BOD, I'm sorry. The effluent BOD in 18 June was 85, and 28 June it's 80, then 75, 76, 77, 75, 73, 72.5, 72, 67, 66, and 65 in 10th of July.
Then influent BOD in 18 June was 350, 20th June it was 337, then 336, 333.3, 340, 335, 330, 336, 330, 331, 331, 335, and 338 in 10th July. Units are in milligram per liter.
The variations in influent BOD is from 330 to 350 milligram per liter, which brings it down to 100 milligram per liter, which is the acceptable limit. The effluent value shows the variation between 65 to 85 milligram per liter.
Show the next slide. Yes. Effluent TDS in 18th June was 2200, then 20th June it was 2050, 22nd June, 24th June, 26th June it was 1900. It was same. Then 28th June it was 1890, then 1875, 1885, then 1900, then 1925, 1975. In 10th July, it was 2000. Units are in milligram per liter.
The influent TDS in 18 June was 3200. In 20th June, it was 3050. It was 2900, 3025, 3150, 3000, 2870, 2880, 2900, 2912.5, 2925, and in 10th July, it was 2950.
Next slide.
The variation in influent TDS due to presence of all inorganic and organic substances are contained in a liquid in molecular influent. TDS shows variation between 2500 to 3200 milligram per liter.
Noise pollution in industries. Actually, there are too much sources of noise pollution. One of the major sources is shown over here, ball oxide machine. This machine produces strong vibration and noise. This can reach to about 100 to 115 decibel. Also, this can badly affect on workers' health. Change the slide, please. The data of monitoring noise is presented here. This table shows two monitoring stations. One is ambient air noise and another one is work zone noise.
Yeah. Ambient air noise is located at security gate, backside of jar formation, backside of tank formation, and scrapyard. This is monitored once in a month, and the limit of noise in daytime is 55 decibels, and from 10 p.m. to 6 p.m., the limit is 45 decibels.
Work zone noise. It is located at all production areas. This noise is usually more strong than ambient air noise. So from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., this limit is up to 75 dB, and at night time 70 decibel is the boundary. Also, this work zone noise is monitored once in a month.
Air pollutant emission. Air emission control technologies are electrostatic precipitation, fabric filters, and wet scrubbers. They are commonly installed to reduce the concentration of substances in process of gas before stack emission.
Stack emissions are those gases and solids that come out from the smokestack incineration process. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
continue.
Wet scrubbers can
Wet
remove
scrubbers.
particulate matter by capturing them in liquid droplets. If the gas stream contains both particulate matter and gases, wet scrubbers generally remove both pollutants. Wet scrubbers designed in industries depend on the industrial process conditions and the nature of the air pollutants. The data presented in the next slide is depicting the pollution controlling elements at different manufacturing unit, which are wet scrubber and dust collector that has 90% efficiency to remove air pollutant like acid mist, leady fumes, and particulate matter.
Yes. Stack emission is located at all 21 stacks, which is quite normal. This is monitored once in a month. Next one is ambient air, located at security gate, backside of jar formation, backside of tank formation, and scrapyard. This is monitored twice in a week. Work zone and personal sampler both monitored once in a month. Show the next slide.
Yeah, this is the list of critical air pollution controlling equipments. As we can see, dust collector systems used in SLI plate parting. SLI stands for starting, lighting, and ignition. MC plate parting, SLI assembly, and MX assembly.
Exhaust and scrubber for alloy blending, jar formation old tank, JF new tank, mixed grid casting, and SLI grid casting and for forming tanks. Next slide. Here we can see the result of stack monitoring. Material of stack in MS, stack height from ground level is 30 meters. Temperature of flue gas is 555 Kelvin, and other specifications are written over here, like differential pressure, velocity, stack area, gas volume, SPM, SO2, fumes, mist, and SO2 and NOx. Next one.
This is a crucial one. Solid wastes and other hazardous waste management. Solid waste, also known as dry diffuse, which is practically in dry state. Disposal is basically depending upon frequency of generation and production. Mostly generated solid wastes are sludge, scrape, leady paste, lead oxide paste, and glass mats, which are treated as hazardous waste.
So the question is, next, right? Yes. So the big question is, how are they managed? The leady paste generated from pressure filter press unit in ETP, which is sent for recycling of lead. Around 200 kgs lead is collected within half a week, but fortunately it has not directly affected any worker. Lead oxide paste from processing reuse itself in process. Glass mat, sludge from ETP, grid plate scraps are sent for secured and filling, and rest of discarded plastic scraps are either disposed to landfill site or sent to recycle.
In conclusion, the study indicates that all major pollutants, including heavy metals, were drastically reduced in the wastewater during the treatment process. Here we can see the pH, BOD, COD, TSS, and TDS are 2, 950, 347, 275, 3100 milligram per liter, while the treated effluents you have values like 7.6, 74.6, 182, 90, 1945, which is within the acceptable limits. All treatment units within the ETP plant are running properly without a problem. The industry has appropriate waste disposal system, and EPT has zero discharge of effluent. These are the references we referred to while making this project.
We would like to express our special thanks of gratitude to our teacher, Mr. Shomojit Ghodai, for giving us opportunity to do this project of waste management in lead acid industry, a case study, who also helped us in completing this project. We came to know about so many new topics that we were unaware of. We are really thankful to them. Thank you for watching and giving your precious time.
COD is more efficient method or efficient process than that of the BOD. So in your project or in your property, you have already told that in industry both COD and BOD is carried out. So why is both are carried out? We know that COD means it is by chemically oxidized both of inorganic and organic substances. But in case of BOD, only inorganic substances are reduced or oxidized. So why BOD process in that case would is carried out, not COD? COD is not a perfect process. Or both COD and BOD, why you have to why industries carried out both this process? Only COD is not efficient.
No, sir. The thing is, BODs especially carried out because, as we know, most of the industries they discharge their wastewater. Almost in this case, we saw treated wastewater going into the marine life. So,
okay,
COD is fine, but doing a different test solely for helping the marine environment is really necessary. That's it.
Okay, acha. Which produces noise. So how it works? What is the mechanism of this machine?
So ball oxide machine. Actually, it rolls a ball and it makes a strong vibration. So it creates noise pollution.
Okay, okay. Acha. Another question is that in your last slide, effluent and influent. So page conclusion. So in that case, influent the pH is 2. Okay, yes, and in case of influent, pH is equal to 7.6. So almost it is not basic, but it is neutral.
Yes.
So when we have to use the influent, that means this is acidic, total acidic in nature.
Yes.
So
totally, yes.
total acidic. So which reagent is mainly used or which process is mainly used to change the pH of this effluent?
স্যার রিএজেন্ট মানে দাঁড়ান একটু দাঁড়ান।
রিএজেন্ট বা তুমি কিভাবে ইনফ্লুয়েন্ট থেকে পিএইচটা ইনক্রিজ করে দিচ্ছ নিউট্রালের দিকে, নিউট্রালাইজেশনটা করছো কিভাবে সেটা আমি জানতে চাইছি।
Sir, actually, we were studying about this data, so we couldn't.
ওকে ওকে, নো প্রবলেম নো প্রবলেম। তুমি রিঅ্যাকশনের মধ্যে বলে দিয়েছো, যাই হোক ঠিক আছে, অসুবিধা নেই, কোনো প্রবলেম নেই। তুমি রিঅ্যাকশনের মধ্যে বলেছো, যাই হোক ঠিক আছে, ওকে।
Oh,
একদম একদম ফার্স্ট
okay, sir.
পেজে
Okay,
যাও।
sir. Got it. Yes, sir. Got it. Yes, sir.
হ্যাঁ স্যার বুঝতে পেরেছি।
Actually, আমি ডেটাটা নিয়ে তখন নিয়েছিলাম তো তাই জন্য।
ওকে আচ্ছা, আরেকটা কোশ্চেন, একটু ফার্স্ট পেজ থেকে যাও, আমার আরেকটা কোশ্চেন আছে। যাই হোক, খুব সুন্দর বলেছো, আমার খুব ভালো লেগেছে যে ডেটা গুলো বললে,
Thank
ওটা
you.
ওকে ওকে। হাউ আর দা, যাও 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 বলবো। lead acid battery, how are they working? ঠিক, use of lead acid battery, চলো চলো চলো। advantages, ঠিক আছে। আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, দাঁড়াও। Lead is heavier compared to the alternative elements and it must be stored in charge to prevent sulfonation. It is not environment friendly, deep recycle. হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, চলো। limited cycle, okay, continue. change বলবো চলো analysis of wastewater, COD, equalization tank, lead based sludge management, চলো। হ্যাঁ, this stop আচ্ছা, technique of reducing chloride in wastewater. Okay, so we know that wastewater contain different types of minerals.
Yes,
Okay, different types of impurities are there. So chloride in wastewater can be eliminated only one process, and this process is known as precipitation process. Okay, demineralization by reverse osmosis, coagulation, electrolysis not used for the maximum amount of chloride to eliminate the chloride in wastewater or reducing, যেটা তুমি বলবে। only precipitation method is widely used for the reducing the chloride in wastewater. এইটা তোমরা মনে রাখবে, অনলি হচ্ছে। আর ডিমিনারালাইজেশন কিভাবে করা হয়, দ্যাট মিনস ইট ইজ হার্ডনেস অফ ওয়াটার। সো ক্যালসিয়াম ম্যাগনেসিয়াম ক্যান বি এলিমিনেটেড উইথ দ্য বাইকার্বনেট, উইথ দ্য সালফেট, উইথ দ্য ফসফেট, এটসেট্রা। এন্ড সো এইখানে তোমরা ক্লোরাইডটা লিখেছো, ওখানটা তুমি লিখতেই পারতে। এটা তুমি কোথা থেকে পেয়েছো, টেকনিকস অফ রিডিউসিং ক্লোরাইড ইন ওয়েস্ট ওয়াটার?
স্যার এটা কোনো মানে স্পেসিফিক সাইট থেকে পাইনি, মানে আমরা একটু এদিক ওদিক দেখছিলাম তখন, মানে রিডিউসিং ক্লোরাইডের অনেকগুলো টপিক ছিল তাই জন্য।
এইটা হচ্ছে তোমার টেকনিক্স অফ রিডিউসিং মিনারেলস লিখতে পারো, বা টেকনিক্স অফ রিডিউসিং দ্য ইম্পিউরিটিস ইন ওয়েস্ট ওয়াটার, এটা তুমি লিখতে পারছো।
জেনারেল পারপাস ব্যাপারটা।
হ্যাঁ ওটা তাহলে
ঠিক আছে।
জেনারেল, হ্যাঁ ওটা জেনারেল।
ইন জেনারেল তোমার ডিমিনারালাইজেশন ইউজ হয়, রিভার্স অসমোসিস, কোয়াগুলেশন, প্রেসিপিটেশন, ইলেকট্রোডায়ালিসিস। ওকে, এইটা আমি একটা জিনিস তোমাদের ঠিক করতে বলছি, আমরা ঠিক করে নেবে, ঠিক আছে। আচ্ছা, নেক্সট স্লাইড। ঠিক আছে, ইনফ্লুয়েন্ট পিএইচ। আচ্ছা, এগুলো খুব সুন্দর এক্সপ্লেন করেছে। আচ্ছা চলো এগুলো কোশ্চেন নেই। এইখানটা টিডিএস, এইখানে তোমরা প্রতিটাতে ইয়েও দিচ্ছিলে, ইনফ্লুয়েন্টও দিচ্ছিলে, এফ্লুয়েন্টও দিচ্ছিলে, কিন্তু এখানটায় তুমি এফ্লুয়েন্টটা কি দিয়েছো? এখানটায় এফ্লুয়েন্টটা দাওনি। এফ্লুয়েন্টের ভ্যালুটা ওটা কি কত হবে বাবা, এফ্লুয়েন্টের ভ্যালুটা? এটা তো দাওনি এখানে।
একবার আগের গ্রাফটা একটু দাও।
এফ্লুয়েন্টের ভ্যালু, হ্যাঁ ওইটা দেয়।
2200 এর থেকে মোটামুটি 2000 অবধি হবে।
ওই 2000 মতো হবে, 2200 টু 2000 এইরকম একটা হবে। যাই হোক, ওটা ওকে চলো। ঠিক আছে, আমার কোশ্চেন কমপ্লিট। ওকে, কোনো প্রবলেম। ওকে,
ঠিক আছে।
ওকে।